Hello learners! Today I want to talk to you about definite and indefinite articles. Now it's a fairly simple grammar concept, but you might not have known the words for it. So today I'm going to give you the words as well as tell you how it's important to your everyday writing and to grammar as a whole. What you need to know about articles is that they are a special kind of adjective. So most of us know adjectives as being words that describe nouns, and that's correct. We'll talk about those in another video. Articles are a special kind of adjective, which means they're going to modify nouns, just like a regular adjective does. Articles in English are a, an, and the. That's all you need to worry about. A dog, an elephant, the pencil. A, an, and the. Those are your articles. Now let's talk a little bit about them. The is a definite article. The means a specific, definite, defined, clearly stated noun. If I say the dog, it's implied that I'm talking about a specific dog. That one right there, the dog. A and an are known as indefinite articles. In other words, it doesn't specify which noun you're talking about. A dog, an elephant, well, it could be any one of a number of them. Like adjectives, articles are diagrammed on a diagonal line underneath the noun they modify. Let me show you. Here I have diagrammed three little phrases. Here's a dog. See how a is underneath dog? It's on a diagonal line, and the line is connected, touching the word dog. That means that this article, a, modifies dog. You can see that here with an elephant. An is on a diagonal line, modifying elephant. The pencil, same thing. The is on a diagonal line, modifying the noun pencil. Now, just a reminder, if you watched the previous video, you know about auxiliary and modal auxiliary verbs and how they are related to the main verb. Don't forget that when you're diagramming the auxiliary and modal auxiliary verbs, you might think of them as helping verbs. Stay with the main verb. Keep that in mind as we go into some examples. I'll show you a few. Here's our first sentence. The dog is barking. The first thing that I do is I find my subject and my verb. I'm going to label those with an S and a V. That helps me keep my thoughts straight, especially as we get into longer and harder sentences. Dog is my subject. That's who or what is doing something. My verb is barking. Remember, we talked in the last video about keeping the helping verbs, keeping the auxiliary verbs with the main action verb. Now, think about today's lesson. What part of speech is the? If you said adjective, you're close. Remember, it's a specific kind of adjective. If you said article, you're right on the money. Now I'm ready to diagram. And there's my finished diagram. Notice how I capitalized the T in the because it's capitalized in my original sentence. With diagramming, we keep capitalization but ignore punctuation. Feeling good? Great, let's try another. All right, here's our next sentence. A tornado has been spotted. Remember, before we jump into diagramming, first we label the parts of the sentence. The sentence is about what? One word. Tornado. Now what's the verb? What about the tornado? Remember, the verb tells us what the subject is or does. In this sentence, is a tornado doing anything? No, the tornado itself isn't doing anything, but something happened with the tornado, right? That whole thing is the verb. Now what's the deal with a? Do you remember? That's right, it's an article. And now I can diagram. There it is. Do you notice how I put has been spotted all together in the verb section of the diagram? That's what you're supposed to do. This is called the verb phrase, and it all goes together on the right side of the vertical line. A is my article. Because it happened to come first in the sentence, I capitalized it. Let's try another one. Here we go. The kids ran. Start by finding the subject and the verb. I'm sure some of you are sitting there thinking, well, I want to start with the article. I want to start there because it comes first in the sentence and we just learned about it and we're feeling confident. And that's great. But here's the thing, if you start with the article, you're actually starting with modifiers. And we don't want to start with modifiers until we get the rest of our sentence figured out. It's not a big deal now, but it will come into play later when sentences get longer and more complex. So build good habits now so that later you have less trouble. We start with the subject. Does that match what you were thinking? Kids is the subject, ran is the verb, and the is the article. Let's diagram. There we go. The kids ran. Feeling a little confident? Good. Let's have you try this one on your own. I'm going to put a sentence up. I want you to try it on your own, on a piece of scratch paper, or maybe on Google Slides, or on a whiteboard, whatever you have handy. See if you can get it before you continue the video. Here's your sentence. All right, so you're going to find yourself something to write on, something to write with. You're going to try and diagram this. Don't forget to label the sentence parts, subject, verb, and any articles. You try it. Does this match what you have? Great, you are getting it. Notice that here it's an email, whereas before it was a tornado. Now, side note, we use an when the next word starts with a vowel, A, E, I, O, U. So because email starts with an E, we're using an instead of a. A we use for everything else. Sometimes it gets a little tricky with words that start with a consonant but a vowel sound. For example, hour. We say an hour when we're talking about time. An hour, because we don't actually pronounce the H. An herb that we use in cooking. Even though it starts with a consonant H, we don't pronounce it. English is weird. All right, let's try a couple more. I'm going to put 3 sentences on the board. You try and diagram them. Here's your 3 sentences. You try it. Pause the video and restart when you're ready to see the answers. Here you go. Does this match what you have? Fantastic. I think you're really starting to get the hang of this. Now let's talk about the connection to your real world writing. Because by themselves, definite and indefinite articles, it's not too much, right? It's a fairly simple concept that we don't really use in our everyday conversations. However, it is useful to know if a speaker or a writer is referring to the specific, the, or general, a or an, noun. Additionally, this lesson will connect to future diagramming skills. This is our first lesson where we've seen a modifier, and you're going to hear a lot about that in lessons to come. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Happy writing!